It's Card Central 365 right here. The Randy Karraker Show taking over on Card Central 365. Matthew Rocchio, Randy Karraker. Cardinals fall by a score of 12-1 to the Chicago Cubs today at Wrigley. It was not pretty for Miles Michaelis, but it wasn't pretty for any Cardinal pitcher, as it ordinarily is not after you lose by a score of 12-1. And this is kind of a microcosm of where the Cubs are as they win their 90th game in 2025 and where the Cardinals are in 2025. They are assured now of not being able to finish at 500. They fall to 78-82 on the season. The Cardinals starting pitcher Miles Michaelis, who had a record-setting day on the 4th of July in Chicago, not record-setting in a good way, where the Cardinals allowed 8 runs. But today, 5 innings, 4 runs, all earned. He struck out 4 and only walked 1. But then, man, it was rugged for Gordon Graceffo. A third of an inning, 5 earned runs. Roycroft 1 2/3. In his 1 2/3 inning, Roycroft threw 41 pitches, and he allowed 3 runs. And it was just I would call it you say terrible. I'll say rugged.
Yeah,
rugged day for the Redbirds.
Sure, and it's
not great.
It's going to make part of this show a little difficult because Card Central Postgame is brought to you by our business partners over at Home Bank. They are our banking partners. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one as a trusted partner. Business isn't just about numbers; it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank. That's myhomebank.bank. Call 855-577-2001. That's 855-577-2001. Home Bank member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. A little bit later on in the show, we will pick our money moment of the game presented by Home Bank. And I don't know what it's going to be because I tried to make it positive, Cardinal facing. So I don't know what it's going to be. We'll figure that out later when we come to it.
I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to choose.
Fair enough.
Okay. But let's get right to your reaction because this is a reaction show. Ray Beersdorf, Michaelis last outing for the Birds on the bat? I have to think so. And before this game, it actually had 5 decent starts in a row for the Cardinals relative to what 2025 standards are. But with the cost of Miles Michaelis and with the overall picture of Miles Michaelis, I don't think you bring him back. I think what you're going to do in 2026 is give other people an opportunity to be bad for you. He's already had his chance. So great guy, good team guy, positive. Although there were times this year where I thought he was kind of too positive. But
certainly wasn't positive after PCA took him deep in today's game.
That was kind of interesting.
A bad pitch too.
Big if you were Heim, would you keep Ollie or start anew? I don't hate Ollie. I'm just curious. Here's the thing. If I were in Chaim Bloom's shoes and know what I know, and I'm like you, I like Ollie. I think he's fine. But I think you need to look at the big picture here and ask yourself a couple of questions. Number one, is Ollie going to be your manager when you're ready to win again? I don't think so. Is Ollie going to be able to help you sell tickets? I don't think so. And is Ollie going to be a guy that is going to be transcendent for you? Because normally here, when the Cardinals have won, it has been transcendent managers. I don't think so. So if I were in Chaim Bloom's shoes next week, even though I like him, I would say, and Matthew, I've used this word before in regards to the Cardinals, and I've said this for a couple of years. I think they needed an organizational enema. And I think the guilt by association that Ollie Marmol possesses, a lot of people don't like him. I think it'd be smart for the Cardinals and for Chaim Bloom to start anew. You're getting a new president of baseball operations. You've got a new minor league system. You've got people like Larry Day and Rob Cerfolio and Rob Pierpont and some of the others in place. And I think it'd be a smart move on the part of the Cardinals to, and this is not an affront to Ollie. I just think it's the reality of the situation. I think the smart move for the Cardinals would be to just start fresh all the way through.
Yeah, that'd be the smart thing, but I don't think it's going to be what we see for them. I think we're going to see them kind of plug on a little bit further on. And I know we're having a little bit of audio issues. We're going to try to get those fixed here in just a moment. Nick Applebaum, fitting end to one of the worst contract extensions in team history.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
I think so. Okay, so are you trouble?
Stop! Don't do that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I was just trying to have fun with you guys. Okay, Cole Bassett's left foot. Thank you for being here. You are a regular, and we appreciate it. Bloom might keep him if the goal is to win the NL Central's participation trophy, which you should get for participating. You should get a trophy for participating. By the way, tell us if the audio gets better, would you please? Because I can't hear me. I'm not listening to me. So if you can help us, that would great. That'd be great. Okay, so I'm going to go back because you guys have been awesome right from the very beginning. Leo Barf, yeah. Richard Fulkerson, PU. Cole Bassett's left foot, go Cubs go, rang out so loud even Cardinals fans started humming it. Stockholm Syndrome. But make it baseball. Joe Cubs, Joe.
No. If Graceffa and Roycroft are not significantly better next year, I hope the Cardinals have better players and they are not on the 26-man roster. Listen, Graceffa, we just talked about it yesterday. He needs to be a guy who improves next year for them to have some success.
And I don't think he can keep Chris Roycroft. I think he's shown us enough over the last couple of years that he's probably not for the Cardinals at the major league level. Let's see. Back into this is Leo. Back into the relief pen is dog water. Yes, it is. I think that's kind because dog water is usually cold and fresh if you're taking care of a dog.
Yeah, dog water seems like a really weird. I've never heard that one before.
No, I've heard Whitey say horse bleep.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
I think if you can barely say that the back end of the bullpen, and by the way, let's keep in mind that the back end of your bullpen at the end of July was Nats, Maton, and Helsley. So to compare this back end of the bullpen to the back end of the bullpen that they had for 4 months is not fair. Not fair to these guys, not fair to the people that made the team, that built the team, not fair to anybody. But the fact of the matter remains that the back end of the bullpen is kind of scuffling. We thank you to Cole Bassett's left foot for telling us that the microphone isn't getting any better.
It's not yours. It's not. I have no idea what he's. I don't think it's the microphones at all. Mitchell Baguette, Bequette. My bad. I just saw Baguette, and I just want to keep rolling with it.
When I go to, you know what, really good
Mitchell
place
Bequette
could be. But if you ever go to Noodles and Co., get your noodles, but also get Baguette because it's really good. Is it working?
Yeah, we sound fine. You guys suck. Hate the listeners sometimes. I'm kidding. You guys are the best. I love you guys. Games like these at the end of the year make you realize that there really are only a few players they should hold on to going forward. This team is just bad. Time to start over.
Okay, so one of the things the Cardinals announced early today is that Brendan Donovan is out for the year. And we already know that Mason Wynn and Wilson Contreras are out for the year. Arenado is done. He came out of today's game early. But not that he's great, but he's done. So when you think about the best players on your team, and I'm not going to argue with you, the Cardinals do not have a singular great player. But they also aren't playing some of their best players because Wynn, Donovan, Contreras are 3 of your starting 8, and they weren't in there today.
Yeah, that definitely it hurts when you're not playing any most of your good players, and we're not going to see Matthew Liberatore is not going to get his final start. We've already seen the last of him. We are going to see a start, apparently, according to Jeff Jones, reporting on Twitter. We will see Kyle Leahy on Sunday, Michael McGreevy tomorrow. So, you know, there's some reasons to hope, but not necessarily for 2026. But you know, I think Bernie just said in his video today, he was talking about, you know, or maybe this was a video yesterday. I'm blanking. You know. There are reasons, there are things to take away from every game for each of these players, even if the team themselves isn't very good. Like every player, these games matter to them, and so, you know, next year is going to be the same case. Can they develop some of these players, and next year it's going to seem like it's more about can they develop some of these pitchers? That's going to be the big question. Because if they can't, listen, then it's going to be a 4 or 5 year rebuild, not a 2 or 3 year one.
And let's just look here at WAR for. And that's a good all-around player, right? A WAR. If you have a high WAR, you're a good all-around player. And right now, the top 10 in Major League Baseball are Aaron Judge, Cal Raleigh, Bobby Witt Jr., Julio Rodriguez.
Solid.
Yep.
They're all pretty good.
Perdomo from Arizona, Ohtani, Soto, Nico Horner at 6.2, Matt Olson and Seager. And Matt Olson and Seager are tied at a WAR of 6.0 for this year. Those are 10th in Major League Baseball. And that's all around position players. Then you look at the Cardinals this year. And again, the number 10 guy was at a 6.0. The Cardinals leader in WAR is Brendan Donovan at 2.7. So the fact of the matter is the Cardinals don't have a great all-around player. They don't have a great pitcher either, but they aren't even close to having a great all-around player. And so there is a tremendous amount of work that needs to be done on this ball club in the future and in the present. But there's a lot that Heim has to handle before this team is competitive for a world championship.
Well, I have hope, Randy, and that's, you know what, the hope is going to bring us to what I'm going to call my Home Bank money moment of the game. The money moment of the game is brought to you by Home Bank, the team behind our team right here at STL Sports Central. Visit them. You can see it right there on the screen, myhomebank.bank, or give them a call at 855-577-2001. It's right there, 855-577-2001. My money moment of the game then is going to be the 7th inning when Jordan Walker steps up. He's got Nolan Gorman on base. He strokes a single to left. Nolan Gorman scores, and he moves Thomas Ajacci over from first base to second base. The future of the St. Louis Cardinals. Clayton won in the 7th inning. And a 12-1 loss. That's my money moment of the game. Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, and Thomas Ajacci, the future of the Cardinals.
Okay, I like the positivity. I'm impressed. That's good. So I was going to go with the fact that John King, after allowing a base hit, was able to get Kyle Tucker to fly out to center.
That's you know what? He cleared a high bar there. Yep.
And then Suzuki struck out. Pete-Crow Armstrong lined out, and John King turns in a scoreless inning for your Redbirds.
Rich Cam, 427. Unfortunately, 2026 will be the first real year of the rebuild since the front office spent this whole year with their heads up their butts.
Yeah.
It's a good night. Good day for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. And we talked about this week. Go back and listen to some Randy Karraker shows from this week. You can check them out on STL Sports Central YouTube, or you can listen to the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. And we broke down a lot of this question of, was this the first year of the rebuild? Was it a successful year? So on and so forth.
It depends on what you thought the Cardinals were going to do this year. Now,
it also depends on, here's the thing about rebuilds is a lot of grading of rebuilds is hindsight, which is, was this year a success? Was this year a failure? Well, if there's no development over the winter for guys like Nolan Gorman and Jordan Walker, and they can continue nothing of what they did this year, well, then yeah, maybe it is.
But you had to find out about them.
That's true.
And I know people say, well, they didn't do anything in terms of getting rid of Gray, Michaelis, or not. Well, he had a no trade too, but who was going to take him? But Gray, Contreras, and Arenado, but all of those guys had no trade clauses. I wonder what, in terms of a rebuild, what didn't the Cardinals do this year that you wanted done?
What they didn't do this year that I wanted done.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger earlier on Michael McGreevy as a starter in the major levels.
That's fair. But again, we ran down the list yesterday. There were basically 3 Eric Fetty starts where things just crumbled in a hurry.
They didn't pull the trigger earlier on a Jimmy Crooks chance, and I would have liked that because we now would have a better the part of the variable that is in the Ivan Herrera and the future catcher equation that is Jimmy Crooks, we would have a little bit clearer case there. But other than those two things, I can't really picture any huge things. I mean, they didn't sit on somebody's money or calling him up so that they make sure they save his money for down the line, like they I guess might do with JJ Weatherholt next spring, but I really hope they don't. There wasn't really huge glaring things other than the McGreevy and the catcher spot.
Rich Cam 427. No JJ Weatherholt start in 2025 is almost certainly an automatic fail.
I think if you believe that, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. You were trying to provide runway for other people here, right? For most of the season, you had Arenado, and you wanted to find out what Gorman was capable of, and they did. They wanted to take a look at Sajasi. They wanted to keep Mason Wynn playing. And so, yeah, I think we can say that not seeing J.J. Weatherholt here was a negative. But if we go back and look at how many at-bats J.J. Weatherholt had at the minor league, at the AAA level, and then if we're going to complain about a guy like Walker being rushed, I think that the Cardinals would say that we don't want to rush our players. We want to have players prove to us that they're major leaguers. And I don't know that I do know that they didn't think that Weatherholt got enough time in AAA, where he had a total of 221 plate appearances. They don't think that that is enough to judge a player and get him to the majors. They wanted to give him a full year and actually allow him to face some adversity, which he did down the stretch in Memphis. They wanted him to deal with adversity, because that was one thing that they didn't see with Jordan Walker. He never dealt with adversity at the minor league level, and then they brought him up, and the first time he saw adversity, they sent him down. So I think I would have a tendency to disagree that Weatherholt not being here is a failure.
It was basically the same team as last season, other than Goldie, Lynn, and Gibson. I don't consider that a rebuild, Mason Windu.
I would disagree with that too, because last year you didn't have Victor Scott playing all year long in center field. Well, I think all you need to do is just look at the rosters of the two teams, and I don't think it was the same team last year.
Also, I think you have to throw in the realities of they tried to trade Nolan Arenado and it fails, and that we know that up until a few weeks ago, had they gone to Sonny Gray and asked him if he would have accepted a trade, his answer would have been no as well. Yeah. So it's like, how much could they actually pull things down and rebuild prior to this year? They tried to go as far as they could by not really making any moves in the winter and trying to trade Nolan Arenado, but that obviously didn't work out.
Yeah. Last year, Michael Ciani played the majority of the games in center field for the Cardinals. Newt Barr last year played the majority of his games in right, and Burleson was the DH. You had Matt Carpenter on last year's team. Scott only played 53 games last year. Dylan Carlson was on last year's team. Brandon Crawford was on last year's team. Tommy Pham for a few weeks was on last year's team. So from a position player standpoint, it was pretty different. Pajes was the primary catcher last year. Goldie at first, Gorman at second, and obviously Donovan was your primary second baseman this year. Wynn was the same at shortstop. Arenado was the same at third, but then Donovan, Ciani, and Newt Barr, pretty different, I think, than Newt Barr, Scott, and Walker. And then in terms of pitching, Michaelis was here this year, and Gray was here this year. And Lance Lynn was your starting rotation last year was Michaelis, Gibson, Gray, Palante, and Lynn. Gibson was gone. And Lynn was gone this year, and you gave Liberatore an opportunity in the rotation. Andrew Kittredge was here last year. Ryan Fernandez was here most of last year, and Romero was here all of last year. So I would respectfully disagree that this was the exact same team that we saw last year.
Dinescu Rudy says Victor Scott could be a very important player in the future, but he needs to improve on his hitting. No doubt about that.
No doubt.
The consistency has to appear at some point.
Yep. And hopefully the Cardinals will find a way to make him a really good player. What was his ground ball to fly ball ratio? I think one of the things that he needs to do, I think Ollie would do well to have that Whitey Herzog Ozzie Smith bet with Victor Scott. Don't worry about launch angle with Victor Scott II. Line drives and ground balls. And if he can get those, then he's going to get on base a lot. And he needs to be more selective. He needs to take more walks too. His on base this year faded a lot down the stretch. And so let me just get to him. He wound up with an on-base percentage this year, or will wind up with an on-base percentage in the 300 range. 306 is not going to do it. And he took 42 walks. That's just, for a guy that had 455 plate appearances, not enough. He needs to take more walks.
That's very fair. He hit much better against fly ball pitchers than against ground ball pitchers.
He struck out 108 times too.
Woof.
That's way too many strikeouts for him.
But his actual batting ratios, when you look at
walk rate 9.2%, strikeout rate was not good.
Batted ball rates. Here we go.
Strikeout rate was 23.7. Can't have 23.7 is way too high for Victor Scott.
His fly ball percentage last year was 25%. His ground ball percentage was 35%. That's down last year from a ground ball percentage of 41% and a fastball percentage of 23.4%. So, he lowered the amount of ground balls he saw per fly ball. So not good.
No.
Kind of the opposite way that you wanted Victor Scott to go from the hitting profile this year. We got two questions here from MT 2330. Both of them, he says, thoughts on what Bloom's and DeWitt's press conferences on Tuesday will go into details on everything or keep it short. So DeWitt's going on Monday, and then Bloom and company will go on Tuesday.
Yeah, and Mo on Monday too, right?
Did I say DeWitt on Monday?
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant Mozeliak goes on Monday, Bloom and company goes on Tuesday.
Yeah. I would think that based upon my conversations with the organization, they heard you about messaging over the course of the last couple of years. And the messaging from the Cardinals, hopefully, will change dramatically. That is their goal for Tuesday. They want to lay out what the plan is and how long it's going to take and what you can expect from the franchise in the years to come. They understand that they blew it last year with their end of season press conference, and they know that they have to get better at that. So from an organizational standpoint, they've enlisted the help of people to help with messaging. And then hopefully what we'll hear on Tuesday will be, and I don't know that they're going to go 2 hours, but I think they'll go a full hour and tell you exactly what their plan is for 2026 and beyond.
Jeremy Hodge, under 500 is unacceptable. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. I'm glad you got the fans stay engaged and passionate, because I couldn't care less if the Cardinals are under 500 this season.
No, that wasn't the plan. They weren't going to be a playoff team, and I'm with you.
But I'm glad you're passionate. I'm glad you're passionate about it, because I need somebody to be passionate for me, because I couldn't care less if the Cardinals are under 500 this year. It hasn't bothered me since. I don't think there's been a day it's bothered me this year. Fact of the matter, they weren't going to be good. Anything was going to be gravy, and I'm happy I don't have to watch them lose 2 out of 3 in the wild card round.
That's reasonable.
Although I do want to say to Ray Beiersdorf, he says he lost a bet with his uncle. My prediction was the Cardinals achieve 90 wins. I owe you a 12-pack now. Ray, I will bet whatever amount of money you want to bet on next year's Cardinals over under. I'll bet whatever amount you want to bet. Just get at me once the over under is released. I have a feeling I'll be fine to take the bet.
Okay.
90 wins with this roster. Samuel Howe thought 86 wins, and maybe a little bit too optimistic. Maybe a tad bit.
My prediction was anywhere between the 71 of 2 years ago and the 83 of 2 years ago.
That's 77?
That's a wide delta.
Still, that's a good call.
Yeah.
There's 77, right?
78 and 82.
All right, there you go. A little on the high end for you, but still pretty good.
So yeah, they aren't. They're going to finish in. That is. I'll grant you that was a wide delta, but I didn't see them this year being a championship quality club. I didn't see them threatening for any division titles, and you know why? Because they told me not to expect that, and I wasn't going to disagree when somebody tells me that we're going to be below average. We are not going to be very good. I kind of trust that level of self-awareness rather than some person. It's kind of like the golfer that says, yeah, I'm really good. I never think that golfer is going to be great. Now, if they surprise me, wonderful. But normally, if somebody tells me they're not a good golfer, I trust them, and then I can play with them.
There you go. Rich Cam 427. Doesn't matter if you're 81 and 81 or 60 and 102. If you're just going to play uncompetitive baseball and get bounced out of the playoffs in the first round. Some people have that mindset, some people don't.
Yeah, but neither of those are going to get you to the playoffs.
Walt Mosby, everything you are saying is why I'm not a VS2 fan. Cards can do better in center field. You didn't mention his nude alarm. We also didn't mention the fact that he can get to almost any baseball hit inside the park, which is why he's playing. Yeah. Like you don't need you can say, well, he doesn't, he's not, his approach to the plate isn't what I want, and he doesn't have a good arm and all these bad things. that's fine. None of those things are the reason he's out there playing in Major League Baseball right now. It's because he can get to any ball hit within the ballpark. And I think he showed us at least once or twice. He can get to one that's technically going outside the ballpark as well.
Yeah,
I think he's robbed 1 or 2 home runs this year.
You know, we got kind of spoiled by Jim Edmonds.
A little bit.
People, when Willie McGee was winning an MVP in 1985, people were complaining about his arm. When John Jay was playing center field for the world champion 2011 Cardinals, people were complaining about his arm. The fact of the matter is, a center fielder's arm comes into play maybe once a week. So that's why I wasn't complaining about it, because I think generally it's a non-factor. Johnny Damon won a World Series in center field with a bad arm. I can name several others. Is it an advantage to have a great arm in center field? Yes. It was nice to have a guy like Andy Van Slyke, who, by the way, never did win a World Series. But Bernie Williams had a good arm playing center field. Edmonds had a good arm playing center field. But it's not an absolute requirement to have a center fielder with a great arm to be able to win. It's just not. And so
Cardinals won 100 games with John Jay, didn't they, at center field? John Jay in center that year?
In 2015?
Yeah. No, he might not have been him yet.
Yeah. So, but the fact of the matter is, it's a nice bonus to have, but you can win with a center field without a great arm. But first of all, you need a guy that can go get a ball, but you can't have a guy with an OPS of 500 or whatever. His OPS this year, 600 OPS, 306 on base, 295 slug. That's not enough offense. Now, you can get by with lesser offense. If he had a 680, 690, 700, that would be something that would be more attractive to me. A 600 OPS is not something that you can win with. And everybody's looking for a center fielder. Let's go through the list of center fielders. Yeah, go ahead.
So John Jay was their starting center fielder for the majority of 12, 13, and 14. He played only about 60 games of center field in 15. Nonetheless, 12, 13, 14, the Cardinals won 88, 97, and 90 games. With, I love John Jay, but one of the definitional noodle arm for a center fielder.
Yeah. Right. Did not have.
Won an average of 92 games across 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Not bad. I'll take it.
So, but you look around right now and try to find center fielders that are great. Let's leave the noodle arm out of it. Who are center fielders that are great offensive performers right now?
Oh, God.
Rodriguez is one of them. Buxton, when he plays, is one of them. I'll give you, I guess Jackson Merrill is there. Crow Armstrong in the first half of the season was there. But then you're getting into, and there are a few others, but for the most part, the good teams have guys that are good two-way center fielders. Most teams, the vast majority of teams, are looking for a good, an offensive center fielder. Most teams at that position are looking for a guy that's a better hitter than the guy that they have.
Yeah, there are some good ones. I mean, Jackson Churio, Pete-Crow Armstrong, obviously. We saw him today.
Yeah.
If you groove him a 79-mile-per-hour fastball in his right there in the middle of the plate, he can hit it pretty far.
Yep.
Then again, I have a feeling a lot of baseball players.
But let's take a look. Pete-Crow Armstrong has 294 on base. Had a great first half.
That's a really good point.
Trent Grisham is the center fielder for the Yankees. 330 on base, 431 slug. Nice. He didn't play every time for them because Bellinger plays as well. But I just, my point being, I think most teams fans are complaining about the offensive abilities of their center fielder.
So Sean from St. Loserville Hill, and obviously the name should probably denote my question here, but I don't expect to see the playoffs again till another 5 years of this. Dinescu Rudy also says at least 5 years. I'm not sure why, like just tromping around like a sad sack, help. If it's fair, I mean, whatever you need to do to process that your baseball team sucks, I get it. Get through it however you need to. The idea that this team is terrible and bad and everyone sucks and the players are bad and the coaches are bad and the staff's bad and the scouts are bad and therefore everything's bad and we're the Pirates and the White Sox and you can't rebuild for 5 years. It could happen. Sure. Again, we've been talking since May about the how bad rebuilds happen, but there's a lot of reasons, including, by the way, a new regime taking over in the front office to have some positivity as to why it's going to happen quicker than that. Also, you see it in baseball. Rebuilds happen faster than that. And a lot of times when teams rebuild, they don't have Mason Wynn and Ivan Herrera and Alec Burleson already on their roster. That's 3 above average overall players. That's not a lot of teams have that when they're rebuilding. Cardinals are it's not going to be great. Next year's going to suck. I've been open about that. I think we're looking at 2023 all over again. I'm talking about 73, 74 wins maybe. It's going to be bad, but there's no reason to think that this team can't pull themselves out of the doldrums a year or so after the lockout ends. So we're talking about 28, 29.
Right. And let me give you a 5-year run for a team. First of 5 in their division, fifth of 5, first of 5, first of 5. That was a 5-year run. And let's make it a 6-year run. First, fifth, first. You finished in last in your division 2 years. This is the Red Sox between 2013 and 2018. They won 2 World Series. They lost in the first round of the playoffs 2 other years and didn't make the playoffs and finished in last place 2 other years. 5 years is a long time in Major League Baseball to say, oh, we don't have a chance. It'll take at least 5 years.
5 years is so long.
It's
oh
my
God. That's, by the way, 5 years from now, Ivan Herrera is going to be 30 years old. Like, that's insane. That is such a long time. Like, Mason Wynn will be in his late 20s. Like, that is so long to say that this team can't turn things around. If you say it's going to be 3 years, I'll agree with you. 5 just seems like a really weird bit of negativity to latch on to.
Yeah. Hey, and I wouldn't bet on it being 5 years. Oh, and you know what? Speaking of betting, Missouri, get ready because the wait is almost over.
5 more years?
No. Just a couple of months. You have to deal with October and November, but then December 1st, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook, is going to be here in Missouri, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings launches on December 1st in Missouri. Download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings officially goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions, safe, secure, and with fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when they go live December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
We have a chat here from Samuel Howe, who's asking, why do we have to be worse next year? They clearly should have torn down more last year. My answer to why they're going to be worse next year, I'm gonna quote you, quoting someone else. I'm gonna do the Michael Scott, and that is pitching. Yeah. They don't have the bodies to be an above 500 Major League Baseball team next year.
That we know of.
Unless we're completely wrong and they make the smart moves like the Guardians and like the Brewers keep making, where they get 3 or 4 guys on the periphery on the $4 or $5 million, and they say, and all these guys can pitch you 100 innings, then they could turn things around, and that pitching could make them a 500 team. It's just right now, as everything sees, and since we don't know, they don't have the pitching bodies, and so therefore I can't see how they're a 79 or 80 win team next year.
And you know what else I don't know is, and I think that Chaim Bloom has to determine this too. While it's absolutely wonderful that the Cardinals are going to go through an entire season without putting a starting pitcher on the IL with an arm injury, and did they? I don't think they had an arm injury in the entire staff. John King had the oblique and stuff, but I don't think they put a pitcher on the IL with an arm injury.
Not in the majors.
No. That being said, and again, talent plays a role in this, but I don't know what they think of the effectiveness of Dusty Blake, because while it is great that they didn't put anybody on the IL, they also were just above overall Major League average and earned run average at 4.23. League average is 4.16. But do they give him a break because he had to deal with starting Miles Michaelis and spent a lot of the season with Eric Fetty starting. And you see the advancement from Matthew Liberatore. You don't see as much advancement from Palante. You do see advancement from Michael McGreevy, but you didn't see advancement from Ryan Fernandez. A lot of positives, absolutely. Maybe getting league average performance out of this group is really, really good. But I can't determine that. And maybe Chaim Bloom will feel like, okay, I give him a few more swing and miss guys. I give him down the road a guy like Quinn Matthews, a guy like Liam Doyle. I don't know. And I'm going to have to ask Chaim about this once he has his press conference on Tuesday, whether or not they think that the pitching, that if they think that Blake Lively got the most out of this pitching talent in 2025.
We don't have a lot of people on our Card Central postgame roster who can adequately give us the answer to this question that's up on screen. So this is how we're going to close out this Randy Karraker Show takeover of the Card Central postgame. Do the Cardinals have more talent with this regime change than the last one in 1995? I think they do. That's from Dale Kreist.
They do not, because remember, after 1995, they went and got Gaetti, they went and got Clayton, they went and got Gallego, they went and replaced 3 starting pitchers. They replaced their closer, brought in Eckersley, they brought in Todd Stottlemyre, they brought in, trying to think of the other, they got rid of, I think Danny Jackson might have been on that 95 team, and they kept him for a couple of years. The outfield talent was really good because you had Gilkey, who you got rid of to sign Ron Gant, but you had Ray Langford, you had Brian Jordan. Mabry was your first baseman. The catcher they kept was Pags.
Could you say that Wynn, Herrera, and Burleson are comparable to that outfield talent?
Wynn, Herrera, and no.
Damn.
Well, I mean,
Ray Langford's a really good player, but Ray Langford was never going to be the guy who took you over the hump himself.
And I think part of that was the team he was on.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a 30-30 player, hit more home runs than anybody else in Busch Stadium too. So he was a foundational player, and I think Brian Jordan was a foundational talent. And as it turns out, Bernard Gilkey, who they didn't like an awful lot, he was one of those guys too. But I mean, you had Scott Cooper at third in 1995. Ozzie was hurt and diminished in 1995. I don't even remember who it might have been. Luis Alicea was the second baseman in 1995. So there were dramatic changes. I'm trying to think of who the other pitchers were that we got to here, and I got it right here. So 1996, you had Andy Bennis, you had Stottlemyre, you bring up Donovan Osborne, or keep him around. You bring up Alan Bennis, and you had Mike Morgan, and then you brought up not long after that Matt Morris, and then you had Eck, you had Honeycutt to the bullpen, and you had Tony Fossis to the bullpen. But the big thing was, if you look at the 96 team, Pagnazzi was a holdover, Mabry was a holdover, and he just wasn't great. Alicea was the second baseman in 1996, but the guy that played a lot was Mike Gallego when they went to the playoffs. Clayton at short, Gaetti at third, both new. Gant new at third. And so that 95 team was just not that good. I think that the talent level here isn't simply because of Gilkey, Langford, Jordan. That outfield was a lot better.
And when Herrera, Burleson just doesn't reach that level. I mean, just doesn't reach that level for you.
Yeah, Cooper had a 6. Cooper actually had a higher OPS, same OPS kind of as Arenado that year.
What about the young pitching? Matthew Liberatore, Michael McGreevy, Quinn Matthews, Liam Doyle. Does that give you more excitement than the Bennis's and those guys were giving you in the late 90s?
Because Alan Bennis, if he doesn't get hurt, would have been an all-timer. He was somebody to look forward to. A 26-year-old Donovan Osborne was somebody to look forward to. Alan Watson, who wound up getting hurt, left-hander, was somebody to look forward to. They brought back Ken Hill, who was top 3 in the Cy Young voting in 1994. They did have Danny Jackson then. No, I think there was, plus you had more young guys in the system. No, I just think that 95 team.
Fair
And
enough.
the thing was, when I talk about asking who's a great player,
Mhm.
okay, Ray Langford in 1995 had 25 homers, 35 doubles, an 873 OPS, and it was a really good defensive center fielder. I don't think the Cardinals have anybody like that. And then Jordan that
That's fair.
year, 22 homers, 20 doubles. He had an 827 OPS. And by the way, Bernard Gilkey had an 848 OPS. And Bernard was a stud. All three of your outfielders.
3,800 OPSs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They don't have that. That's a
No.
good point.
Yeah, not even close.
David Showmaker, keep Burleson, Donovan, Fermin, and trade everyone else.
For me.
I'd hate to burst your bubble here, but you got 2/3 of that text right and 1/3 very, very wrong. I'm not sure why you're wrong, but I do know that you're wrong about the last third of that text. I'm not sure why, but I do know for a fact that
Burleson
you're
and
wrong
Donovan
about that
will be
one.
here.
Yeah.
Trade everybody else. I don't think I would trade Wynn.
No, I wouldn't trade Wynn.
You got the catchers, and I think that you do have a chance with McGreevy and Liberatore. So no, I don't think that I would trade everybody else. Charlie Smith, by the way, Clayton was overhyped, just a waste of time. Rice Clayton was an okay player. He wasn't Ozzie, but
Tony saw something.
Yeah, and by the way, that '96 season for Ozzie, his last year, he was really good. But and Clayton that year, not great offensively, okay defensively. Ozzie wound up with a 728 OPS that year in only 261 at bats. Let me just, I want to look at one thing before we go, because I think we have a tendency to, and we should, because he was the greatest shortstop of all time, but glorify that last year for Ozzie. He only had 30 plate appearances against left-handers. And he hit 240. Maybe he would have done better, maybe not. But I think what the Cardinals thought and what Tony thought at that time, right or wrong, was that Ozzie better served the team batting left-handed against right-handed pitchers. He had a 736 OPS against lefties. He was really, really good. Hit 287 against them. And again, not even enough to discuss against left-handers because he only had 30 at-bats. But the perception among management at that time was that Ozzie had difficulty hitting right-handed. And that's why they brought in Rice Clayton.
Makes sense.
So right or wrong, that's why they did it. Cardinals lose 12-1 today. Miles Michaelis, a rough go. Not as rough as Gordon Graceffo had, though. And they'll try it again tomorrow at Wrigley Field. Only 2 games left on the season. And again, if you aren't aware of it, the Cardinals clinched an under 500 record this year. They are 78-82. And also Kyle Leahy to get the start on Sunday in Chicago against the Cubs. And every game in Major League Baseball on Sunday starts between 2 and 2:20. Has a chance to be really awesome. Diamondbacks are kind of out of it, so you still got the Reds and the Mets battling for the NL wild card, and just absolute craziness in the American League. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, the Cards Central 365 brought to you by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Thanks for being with us on this show. It was a lot of fun. I didn't get enough of a chance to do these this year, but when I did, I had a good time.
There it is.
And we will be back. I am out on Monday for a golf tournament, but I will be back with you on Tuesday.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
And we've got, by the way, college football show tomorrow, college football show, Matthew and I, or a pro football show on Sunday, plus Bernie coming up, right?
Yep, Bernie coming up here in about 10, 15 minutes.
So a lot coming your way here on STL Sports Central. And just stick around. We're reacting to everything here at STL Sports Central.